Oh, hey there. We are going to show you how to fill out a form to enter your artwork into the student exhibitions. Let me show you how to do that. We can go to our website, art.student.elgin.edu, and underneath the opportunities menu item here, we are going to have some links for entries. And for right now, I think I'll show you on the Skyway Conference exhibition um, form, which is the deadline is on February 22nd, coming up here. On this landing page, what you'll get are the Skyway guidelines for entry. You want to make sure that you're eligible, and you want to make sure that the work that you're submitting is eligible. So now that information will be right there. You have your rules and guidelines here repeated for the most part. So we'll click on this to fill out the form. And once we go on this page, what's important to understand is that you can submit up to 5 pieces for Skyway. And this is broken up into essentially 2 parts. One part is going to be all of your information about you as a student, your email, your contact info, address, and all of these things. That portion is pretty self-explanatory, so I'll just kind of skip through that. The next portion is going to be filling out the information for your art pieces. So on our first artwork here, what we want to do is have all of information ready. Be best if you had the artwork near you, because you will have to measure it at some point. The title of the artwork, I advise you to come up with a title that you think will help participate in the interpretation of the art piece, but that's up to you. Some people like untitled because it's the easiest solution. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. So here I'm going to go ahead and just title my fictional art piece as Elgin's Choice. Ooh, so mysterious. And then what we'll have below that is the medium, and this can be essentially, as it says, the classification of the process. So if it was photography, we want to be somewhat specific with that. So it could either be, darkroom photography or digital photography or archival antique processes or something of the sort that gives it a better understanding of what went into making that. In this case, we have bronze cast and woodcut print. I'll put woodcut print. And if you're not sure, you can ask your instructor for the specific technique, and they can help you with that too. Work originality. We do have some assignments that teachers use where they actually ask you to reference an existing artwork. Those are totally okay to submit. You just have to let us know if that's the case. So unless it's original to you, which means, say it's you did a still life, okay, and you drew that or you painted that or whatever you did, that could be original to you, even though it's a still life. However, if someone said, okay, go remake the Mona Lisa, that you would have to cite as being a reproduction, even if it wasn't necessarily an exact copy. So we would do reproduction here. So if all else fails, or I should put it this way, if you're not sure and you think it's a work that's based on an existing work, hit reproduction and then list the artwork that you think it is, that is based off of or cited. You just put that there. All that does is just protect you with copyright and all that stuff. It's not going to penalize you in any way. Is it for sale? Yes or no? It's up to you if you want to sell it. But I will advise you, if you are going to be selling it, you're not trying to fund your studio practice with this. You are trying to make money, but the money you're trying to make is the money to help you make more artwork. Oftentimes students will tend to put a big price on something. What you really should be pricing your artwork for is insurance to replace it. Okay. So even if you don't want it to be sold, you can hit no, but you still have to put a value on there. So this would go for either selling it or not selling it. What you want to think about when you're doing this is the materials it would cost you to reproduce this. And in some cases, you want to think about, okay, for example, if it was a woodcut print, you would assume that you already own the tools to make the woodcut, and you're just buying the consumables, the things that would be needed to be replaced. So paper, ink, the block, things like that. Not your tuition. so you have access to the studio. But that's a consideration to think about as you're pricing your artwork. If you're renting a studio where you have all your work, you're going to think about, paying your rent. So you might want to think about what those numbers mean. So if we're doing, depending on what it is, it could be anything from, the materials. If you're using like, silver or gold by the, gram, that can be pretty expensive. You want to think about how much it would cost to replace that. And then you also want to think about your time. How much time would it take you to replace it or to reproduce this artwork? I would say, you want to talk to your instructor about it. You can ask me questions, or we can talk about the piece. But again, insurance, basically, if it gets damaged, how much would it cost to replace it? If you're going to sell it, I would think about, I would think again, you're going to have to make more art. How much would it cost to replace that from your portfolio to make more? So I'm just going to arbitrarily choose $150. Let's say it could be, your price could be similar to that, right around there. That would not be surprising. I've seen most student artwork at this particular level go anywhere from $75 to $300, and that would be a lot of 2D stuff. So if you have 3D where it's, a bronze cast or something, maybe it's a little bit different because of materials and technique and time, things like that. Dimensions, you're going to want to measure the height, the width, and then the depth. Essentially, think of this in terms of, if it's on a wall, how far does it come out? That would be your depth. If it's on a pedestal, your 3 dimensions that you want to deal with. That's what you want to list here. Everything is going to be in inches right now, so I'm just going to call this one like height. I'll say 30. Width, I'm going to say 40, and then dimensions, I'll think of a frame, so I'll say like 2 inches. You don't have to be too exact here. You just want to give them a general idea of the size, because they want to think about how the show is going to fit together. Okay, that's going to help them determine the kind of layout. If it's unframed right now, which you will need to have it framed if you get selected to be in the big show for Skyway, for example, you would essentially measure it out and kind of add a few inches for depth, and then roughly what you want to see the artwork as presented, how big you'd want to see that frame. So like I said, you want to fill it as best as you can with the knowledge that you have right now, but ask your teacher, ask me, and we can help you out. We need to know which semester in which it was created. In Skyway in particular, we want to know because they cover like 3 or 4 different semesters where they accept work from, and they don't want to have repeat entries, right? So they need to be separate entries, and this is a way to track it. So I'll just choose mine, and then my file name is, when you digitize something, when you take a photograph of it, it's going to produce a file name. You could either make a custom file name with your name on it, or you can go with the file name the camera produces. Right now, I don't know the file name because I haven't chose the file. Well, what I can do is, if I go to add file, it's saying that's a required question. That's fine. I'm going to go to my drive because it's a lot easier when you're doing these Google things to upload it to your student drive, so you can pull those files off and submit things quite easily. So if I go in here and I choose some artwork, so I'll choose this one right quick. It says the file name right there. So I'll just go right up here and type in img_1846. Yours will be similar, but everybody's will be different. This is just a way so that when we look at the spreadsheet of all this information, we can associate all of your inputted information with the artwork file when we have to submit it to the jurors and whatnot. You are able to enter up to 5 pieces. So once you enter that first piece, all the rest of them are up to you. You can do 1 to 5 pieces. So I'm just going to kind of skip through that. So I just keep hitting next here until I get to the submit button, which is going to be at the very bottom. It says submit right there. Once I do that, then our information is logged, our artwork is submitted, and we're done with the process. It's really easy. And it just allows everyone participating in this to have kind of an equal advantage, where you can digitize your work and then upload it, and then we can share it very easily. All right. Any questions, just let me know, let your professors know, and let's show the world some of your artwork.